All right, guys, it looks like the stream has started here, and we are going to be looking at Headquarters World War II. I am restreaming Slitherine next, so they're going to be updating us on all the new games that they're coming out with. And I just wanted to check this out. Thank you, Slitherine, for inviting me to restream this, and I'll try to keep my talking to a minimum, and we'll just take a look at this, and I will react to what's happening on the screen. The Headquarters World War II looks to be like a fast-paced, turn-based strategy game, and it looked pretty cool, so I just wanted to share that with you guys. So let's listen in. Okay, it looks like we tuned in just in time here. That's pretty cool 3D modeling there. Yeah, baby, the big cats. That a Panzer III versus a Panzer IV? I don't understand. Maybe you could go multiplayer Germany v Germany.
And we are back in the studio. Hello, everyone. And we are now connecting with Mark Hardesty from Epsom. He's actually Slitherine senior producer. Hello, Mark. Can you hear me?
Hello, Julia. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Hi, Mark.
You have a tree.
Yeah. Yes, it's a beautiful Christmas tree, Mark. I'm missing you, Mark. I have to tell that.
I should be there.
Yeah, I know.
Blame the airports.
Yeah, I know. And we are also connected with Alexander Sienin. Hello, Alexander. Can you hear me?
Hello, hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Hello, Alexander. Alexander is a COO and lead game designer for Headquarters World War II from the developer Starny Games. Speaking of which, we have a little surprise for you all. And maybe not, maybe yes. But yes, here it is.
Мене звати Ігор Тимошенко, я очолюю компанію Starny Games.
Hello, I'm Alexander Senin from Starny Games. I'm a lead game designer for Headquarters World War II.
Hi, I'm Kate. I'm a two-dimensional artist in Starny.
Мене звати Шевчук Олександр, і я займаю посаду Lead Level Designer.
Hello there, my name is Max and I'm the lead narrative designer at Starny Games.
Всім привіт, я Олександр, я lead 3D-артист Starny Games.
Я вважаю, що праця зі Слізерином це дуже добре відображається на нашій компанії та нашій команді, і що ми зробимо дуже хороший продукт.
I'm really happy to work in the video games industry. I'm sure that was probably one of the best decisions in my life when I started working here.
I'm very inspired by the fact that our company is focused on the quality of our projects, and it's very important for me.
Працювати в індустрії відеоігор для мене це якби і мрія, яка втілилась, задоволення, натхнення, бажання жити і працювати.
To me, working in the video game industry is about creating stories that a player can inhabit rather than just read or listen to.
Це моя мрія, завжди хотів працювати над розробкою ігор.
I'm in charge of all the game design documentation on the project and also helping managing the team and making sure everyone knows what to do and when to do.
The basic tasks for 3D artists in Starny are all two-dimensional segments of Headquarters. For example, I mean UI, portraits, icons, and so on.
Зазвичай, коли я їду на роботу, в мене немає натхнення працювати. Але як тільки заходжу в офіс і бачу, як тут кипить, яку вулику, можна сказати, буквально за декілька секунд, ти опиняєшся в цьому вирі робочого процесу і натхнення приходить само собою.
In historical strategy games, narrative allows for the dramatization of the historical events, which is not necessarily coming up with something fictional, but finding what's exciting about the historical events and bringing it to the forefront.
So everyone here wants to make the headquarters World War II better and better.
That's cool to see the game designers.
And here we are again. So I hope that gave you an insight of the huge team that is currently working on headquarters World War II. And Mark, can you give us a little bit of an update about the development status of headquarters?
Yeah, sure. When the team are in the final stages of development of headquarters, which is a really exciting time in the game's creation. We're now able to play through all the various single-player missions. Actually getting some multiplayer action and skirmish action going is really, really good. It's really coming together. We've had the art pass. It's looking nearly sort of final game. It's really coming together. It's a really beautiful game.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alexander, we want to know more about the game. So can you give us a bit of context? Where is it set? Why the name Headquarters?
Sure. So Headquarters World War II is a tactical level turn-based strategy game.
What's up, Mr. Versupro?
That means that you can expect a realistic scale.
Sorry about the levels. Their levels are all over the place.
A lot, and it's focused a lot on tactics. It's set during the Normandy landings, and we have a 3 plot-driven campaign: the British one, the American, and the German. And it also has a very flexible multiplayer for up to 4 players. So I hope you will enjoy playing it.
We'll see a little bit later what you're talking about, but I think that we can start from the single-player campaign. So we can see the video of the single-player campaign. And Mark and Alexander, do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Okay,
Yeah,
here we
so
go, boys.
what we're seeing here is the first mission in the German campaign. You're playing as the Germans, of course. The Allies have established a foothold in this small coastal town, and your task is to help the German garrison to hold down the town during D-Day. All the missions have a narrative that follows different characters, with you playing from the point of view of an officer on the battlefield. The footage we have at the moment that's just starting, it's the player starting to position his troops on the map. And as you can see, sort of top left, there's primary objectives is to sort of capture 3 key points in the town. So that there are primary and secondary objectives within each mission, and more objectives sort of tend to appear as the mission progresses. Alexander?
Yeah, so here you can see the allies who are landed fighting with allied German troops that you are going to help defend the town. And as you can see, there is some building collapsing, so I just wanted to bring up one of the key elements of the game, that is the destructible environment. So in the game there are a lot of environmental objects, such as buildings, some fences, like, I don't know, tree lines, yards, high vegetation, and so on. So all of that affects the gameplay. But a lot of that could also be destroyed by being bombarded either by the player or by his opponents. And basically the player has to adjust quickly to the changing situation on the battlefield. For example, if a house that your troops were positioned in has collapsed, you probably have to look for a better position and so on. So you really have to follow what's happening and think in advance of what would you do if the position collapses and you have to switch it and so on.
Pretty cool small unit tactics
so
here.
Here you can see some machine gun action. And as you can see, the infantry in the open is like really vulnerable, but there are some guys hiding behind the truck, so they have better protection, and now they will retaliate with some anti-tank rocket launchers. And you can see the building being damaged. Also, flamethrower units are really effective in close combat, but they better dealt with from afar.
Panzer III, long barrel.
So I guess another important part of the game, especially in the single player campaign, is the unit management, the headquarters section of the game. So between missions, the player, you can sort of choose which units get special abilities to level up, new abilities. You can assign heroes to certain sort of vehicles, and there are headquarter skills that you can sort of invest in and sort of unlock new ones as well. And you do carry an army through from mission to mission as well. So
that's cool. That's what I liked about Panzer Corps, is that you got to carry the army
yeah,
through.
But we also made sure
all
that
the missions.
This has like no snowball effect. So you know, in this game, it's okay to lose units, and like you're expected to lose some units because it's like really heavy like tactical battles. And here you can see some tank on tank action with like so there are like different types of hits possible, like depending on how good your troops are positioned, etc. So you can see the combat log in the top right corner, and it's really important, especially with armored vehicles, to try to outflank or even attack from the rear, because historically tanks had thickest armor at the front and the weakest usually at the rear. So
and the sides.
trying to outflank or get behind the enemy tanks would make your attacks much more efficient. So for example, here the tank in the back would have a better odds at
Sherman in like an M1 scout tank.
So,
hey Julian,
there are actually a lot of factors to take into account. That's why we've added this like combat log feature, and you can also see the extended version for all the details. But it's also really easy to jump into the game, so it's like I would say it's easy to start playing the game, but there is really a lot of depth to it once you figure out the basics. So I would say it should be interesting to both like experienced veteran players and newcomers to genre. So I hope we'll give it a chance. And here you can see the enemy infantry hiding in the high vegetation, so it offers decent protection to the infantry hiding there, so it's quite difficult to take down. And here you can see with return fire they kill a couple of crew members in the scout car. So it's one of the another key mechanics is the crew mechanics. So each unit has up to 5 crew members, and basically when like any of the crew members is lost, the specific penalty is applied to that unit. So for example, if your vehicle lost a driver, you lose a large portion of your movement points. If you've lost loader, you have less attacks. If you've lost gunner, you have less accuracy, and so on. So it's really important to understand, like, and we wanted to highlight that, you know, each crew member is really important, and, you know, unit functions only as long as there is crew. And here you can see the enemy tanks like taken out our tanks, and the anti-tank infantry crew runs in to try and save the day.
They got to be at point blank range with the Panzerschreck. There you go.
And manages to do it successfully. So we've dealt with the enemy armor, and now should have easier time defending this town from the Allied advance. But as you know, historically, inevitably, Germans had to do that.
Thank you very much, Alexander and Mark. And that's not all for today about headquarters, because as Alexander was anticipating before, we are also going to see some footage from a multiplayer match. I think this is the first time that we reveal footage from the multiplayer. So, Mark, can you tell us a little bit more about that? What are the core gameplay mechanics of the multiplayer?
Yeah, sure. So the game comes with up to 4-player multiplayer. It's possible to play either through our PBM system, sort of our turn-based system, which can take many hours and days, but the team have also put together a live turn-based system as well. So you can play the game within an hour and everybody will play their turn one after another. I believe we're going to show footage from a live 4-player game. We have edited it down because I think the game was over an hour. I think Marco would probably kill us if we took that.
Maybe someone else too?
Yeah. Yes. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that we already saw a little bit of the video, but it's now time to see the multiplayer match. And Alexander, since you were one of the players of the multiplayer match, can you walk us through? We will not say if you won the match or not. We will find it out at the end of the video, but please, can you walk us through the match?
Sure. So here you can see one of the players setting up the game, so choosing the map, selecting how many players will there be, whether this is like human players or AI, what teams they are in. So here everyone is for himself, it's like free-for-all match. And here you can see like 4 victory conditions, different like turns limit, starting prestige, prestige income, also like you could set up the higher starting level for units, enable heroes and so on.
So they're using the prestige system like Panzer Corps 2.
And here we're already in the match, so here is one of the players deploying his units. So you get some starting prestige and you can acquire any units and deploy them, and that would usually be your first turn. So here you can see a couple of other players who've already deployed their starting troops. But that's not the end of it. So as the game progresses, you gain more prestige and you can deploy more troops at any time. So here you can see my APC bringing infantry to capture this neutral flag. And this allows me to get some extra prestige income. So it's really important, as in many games, of course, to control the flags. And here they bring you not only one of the victory conditions, which is like whoever controls the most flags longer wins, but also they bring you extra prestige every turn. So it's really critical to control as many flags as possible. So you can deploy more troops and reinforce your position. So here we can see some of the skirmishes around one of the flags already starting. So, you know, the battle for control is ongoing now. So here you can see the red line is showing line of fire, so you can toggle it on and off. And here you could also see how it's affected by the terrain and by all the buildings and tree lines and everything. And you will also be able to see it change as the unit will start to move right now. So you can see that it's taking into account all the terrain and everything. And so here you can see...
Alexander, so there's a number of sort of visual layers you can sort of switch on and off depending how you want to play. Sort of, there is fog of war, there is a sort of line of sight, you can have the grid on and off depending on how much detail you want and information you want.
Yeah, exactly. And here you can see like one of the players deploying in the middle of the game and capturing some extra flags. And as Mark just pointed out as well, yeah, you can, like here you can see the grid, but here you can see no grid and so on. So each player can adjust it and toggle it on and off as needed. So same with combat log, whether you want extended version or a short version, or like whether you need grid, line of fire, fog of war. So yeah, it's really flexible in that regard. And here you can see some of the mortars in action, attacking the enemy gun that was trying to ambush the Tiger tank before. So yeah, so you can also like zoom in, and yeah, there are like yeah, so
when you're sort of saying zoom in, the camera control, you know, seems it's fairly easy to use. There is little on the mouse scroll, you can zoom in and zoom out with a little bit of extra sort of free camera move on top of that. So if you want to play from top down, you can do, but you can also sort of get in close and dirty to see things in more detail.
Yeah, exactly. We tried to make it like really flexible and really to suit like different tastes, different situations in the game. So sometimes you want to zoom in more to see the units in detail or some battle going on. Normally you would probably play from some mid zoom, and then you can also zoom out and see a full top-down like tactical view to, you know, better grasp the battlefield and plan your actions in advance. So here we can also see some skirmishes going on, and here you can see that this car with a machine gun cannot penetrate the front armor of armored car, because you know, even if you land a perfect hit, that doesn't mean it would penetrate the enemy armor. That's why it's really important to have the right gun and, you know, the right angle to attack, and so there the attack was deflected. Here you could have seen the scout unit deploying a smoke screen to basically hide his vehicle and give it extra protection, and it was damaged to try and save it from potential enemy attack. And yeah, so here
Alexander, the two icons to the right hand side, the guy with the bugle and the saluting soldier, what exactly are those?
Yeah, so those are the HQ skills that you can see in the game, and yeah, so basically these two are, one is restoring units morale and another one restoring its crew.
Okay, so that's like a total war mechanic.
You can use those on any of your units on the map, but then it will be on cooldown for a few turns. So it represents like you as a commanding officer and some of the options that you have, but you have to be strategic about using them, because once you've used one of these, they aren't available for a couple of turns, and that means that maybe you should have saved it for a more important unit on a different flank that you wanted to, or like, so maybe now is not the moment to use it, or maybe now it is. So that's really up to you to decide, and there will be more abilities. And in campaigns, they usually depend on the scenario, but in multiplayer, like you can set up whether to have this or on or off. And here you can see the battle for the central flag. So it's like the most contested point on the map probably, because all 4 players have access there. So now you see that one player has already captured it, but now the other one attacks with mortars to sort of weaken the unit there. And after bombarding it with mortar and killing some crew and lowering the unit's morale, it uses the scout unit with assault attack to take the flag. So assault, it's like a close combat attack where if you defeat the enemy, you also take the tile his unit was in, and so you know, the central flag has just switched hands. Yeah, so here you can also see some battle against the Tiger tank, and as you can see, like frontal attacks don't work really well against that armor. Here I would also want to highlight this building, because we can like follow the different stages of its like being undamaged. Now it's sort of damaged, and if it's further attacked, it would collapse at some point. So as I've said, all the buildings in the game are destructible, and you can do that in the match, and they also offer less protection when they are destroyed, so it's a good idea to collapse some of the buildings the enemy troops are occupying.
Oh, that was a Wolverine. Tank destroyer.
Yeah, Alexander,
so,
you were saying that you can when you set up multiplayer and skirmish maps, you can sort of have various options sort of switched on and off. Do you want to just sort of touch on a couple of those? I know there's the headquarters, but there's other things in there to sort of set up your multiplayer game.
Sure. So first of all, like you can either play it as a skirmish, so without other players, like just against the AI. But you could also play all the like skirmish maps against other player opponents, and it's really flexible. So you have 4 victory conditions. Those are focused on capturing other players' starting bases, basically HQs. Then on controlling the flags for the most of the time. So like for controlling flags you gain victory points, and the first player to reach a certain amount wins. Then there is also defeating all the enemy troops, and also if you reach the turn limit without fulfilling any of the other victory conditions, then the total worth of the enemy units killed by each player is counted, and whoever has the highest score wins. So it's really important, like not only how many units you eliminate, but also how expensive are these units. So here you can see the tank maneuvering with backwards movement and also rotating like to certain directions. So it's really important to use that, like to retreat with your frontal armor facing the enemy.
That's a pretty cool mechanic.
And it's also important to utilize this like both backward movement and rotation to keep your units oriented properly and to minimize the damage that the enemy could deal to you during his turn or with an overwatch attack. So this really helped to bring to life these tactical aspects of the game. And as you can see, like here, the unit was like unknown, but now we can see it because we moved closer. So this is all like calculations based on so some units you cannot see at all if they're like behind the building or behind a forest or a tree line. But then there are also 3 levels, so like you either don't see unit or you see it as some unit but don't know the particular model. You know whether it's a gun, a tank, or an infantry, let's say, but no details on that. And then when you fully spotted that, you know like all information about the enemy unit. So if you sometimes saw some red units, those are not fully discovered.
With the variety that you have, sort of setting up these kind of multiplayer missions and skirmishes, I think one of the key things that I've been enjoying is the reason. One of the reasons why it looks so gorgeous is you've got quite a powerful map editor that I believe is going to be released with the game as well. I know I've had a play on it already. So I think from a multiplayer point of view, being able to kind of create your own villages and your own sort of landscapes is quite a big part of this. Being able to kind of create beautiful environments and
like a
placing down your
digital
pigs and your cows and your chickens
game.
where you
Pretty
want
cool.
as well.
Yeah, sure. It's really a big part of the game for us, and we're really looking forward to seeing what the players community can come up with all its creativity and potential for creating great maps to play. And also, if you feel that you could make a better map, it's always better to do the map you want and play it with your friends. So like, what could be better than that? So yeah, we are working on the editor tool, and so that you can make a map and then play it as a skirmish or multiplayer map with other people as well. So yeah, editor is a big part of the project, I would say. And here you can see that the tank missed twice because the enemy unit was behind the tree line, so it was a tough target to pinpoint. And here you can see that the tanks are getting closer to one of the starting bases, so the combat is heating up.
So who do you think is actually going to win this game then?
Well, that's not a fair question because I only...
No.
But yeah, here you can see the Panzer tank destroyed, and I think that's about the end of this short version of this game. The game, of course, is significantly longer. And
No,
here in
Alexander,
Dark
you
Zone,
didn't win.
Our lead level designer, yeah. So good job on this one, but I'll win another time. So
Yeah.
I see you won. You won in the units lost, Alexander.
yeah, that's where I'm
should get
best
a award
at,
for.
sure.
Yes.
We will see another match of the multiplayer one or another time, and I'm pretty sure that you're gonna win that match. So before going to the next game, we want to share some important news about headquarters. But Mark, I will leave you the pleasure to tell that to our community.
Sure. Well, I'm excited to say we have literally just opened up the sign-ups for Headquarters Beta Phase. So if you head over to the Slitherine website and sign up, you'll be blowing up buildings and tanks and flaming infantry in a few days. So yeah, check that out. Go and sign up and you can have a play.
Website and sign up to Headquarters Beta. And also, Mark, can we also say that we are going to release this game next year? Can we say that? Or
I bloody well hope so, yes. It'll be kind of early next year.
Yeah.
Out, yes.
People are asking, so we want to reassure the community that yes, we are going to release next year. So
it's very playable at the moment, yeah.
Yeah. In the meanwhile, you can sign up to the beta, of course. And so I think that our time is coming to an end. So before going to the next game, I want to thank you guys. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Alexander, for being with us from remote, of course. And so I want to say goodbye. And we are going to see in a few seconds another big game with Alberto, and it's Field of Glory Kingdoms. Bye!
All right, so that's going to end the telecast here. So check out Headquarters World War II on Steam. It sounds like it's going to come out early part of next year. It did look very playable. The UI did look intuitive, which I definitely appreciate. And it just looked like point and click, basically. The other thing that I liked about the UI was the fact that it had the hotkeys listed on the screen for you there. So that helps out quite a bit. It basically looked like Panzer Corps small unit tactics, and it looks like there was a prestige system as well as an XP system on each of the units that you could play. So that looked fairly exciting. I'll probably check that one out when it comes out. And yeah, this was Slitherine Next and Headquarters World War II. Thanks guys for watching.